Thank you guys so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. My name is Dr. Shaki Noni Nichols, bringing you the news Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. And with that, we have another special guest, I promised. And I'm so excited to meet her. See, she doesn't know this, right? But I've been following her for at least over a year now. And I saw her on X and then I saw her on TikTok, and I was hooked and addicted to all of her posts that she has. And she has agreed to come on my show. So I'm so excited. So I want to welcome her to the stage now, Miss Karen Kennedy. And like I
Hello.
said, huh? Like I
My
said, I
God,
don't have all the applause stuff. I wish I did. So I'm gonna give you
no.
some.
Oh, we don't need that. How are you? Sorry to
I'm
let it
good.
off,
Oh
but
no, you're fine. I've always wanted to just tell you I'm so sorry for your loss of your husband. And I'm just so grateful for how you fight in his honor every single day with every single post you give us. I mean, I feel so connected to you because of how personal you are and how no holds bar you are. You give it. You know what I'm
thank
saying? You call balls and strikes, period.
yes, I can. Sometimes I cuss, but Jesus loves me. I'm just, it's, it's very personal to me. So,
Mhm.
it just kind of comes out. Sometimes I pray. Well, no, actually, before every video I post, I pray, and I just ask for God's strength and his favor. And it's just it's the my husband actually passed away the same year my daughter passed away.
Oh wow.
In He passed away in July, and my daughter passed away in August of that same year. And that was due to the horrible death care system of Obamacare. And
Mm.
our that's it's such a strange thing. That year was very difficult. It was 2010, by the way. And this is why I'm very passionate about what I do and informing the public. And
Mm.
we need to be armed with knowledge, and what you do with it from there. um, you work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, and
Absolutely.
get involved. And I've done that on the local level, and I'm looking into taking that a next to the next step. So I am so honored you asked me to be on here. I'm just
Really?
believe it. Just so I'm still just thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. But like I said, you have such a strong voice, and I really learn a lot from your posts, just what's going on in Colorado, and then things that go on at the federal level because you actually held a federal position. And so I'm grateful just for the information that you've shared with us, like regarding the Doge cuts. You're like, guys, calm down. This is how things actually work that you don't see that the federal government's doing to you. So just grateful for that information. And so with Women in Wellness Wednesday, it's not just about the physical, spiritual, mental wellness, it's also about political wellness. And I
Awesome.
think that's something that we really don't get into because we're, just abused emotionally in politics. That's my opinion.
You be
And so
correct.
that's why I'm pushing political wellness.
I concur wholeheartedly. And we um if you people I've often heard say, I don't really get into politics. Well, politics is into you, and
Mhm.
eventually it will meet you at your front door and in your home. Um People let the devil in and they don't even realize it. I was listening to the previous segment. These two women are amazing. I really would appreciate it if you could put me in touch with them, because I don't know if you're aware, but in Colorado, they just passed House Bill 25-1312. It's been a uh, it's been one of the left's favorite um, bills that they were trying to pass, and they did. And this so-called governor signed it, and it involves the they have criminalized misgendering or dead naming in the state of Colorado. You can have your children taken away from you if you as a parent, they have codified, they have put this in state law. It is bizarre, kooky, upside down world in Colorado. These Marxists have lost, they are all, they're just out. They don't care if you know it. They have this is going to go way over the top, and I'm going to make a video about this because I don't think people realize it's going to go to where, because these people in Colorado are so insane, it will be, well, you know, the school will call you up and say you need to come get your child because your child has been expelled for misgendering someone because they don't want to call them, you know, their pronouns or whatever, and you need to come get your child. And this is just a scenario, but it eventually it's going to lead to this. You need to come get your child because your child has been expelled from school. And oh, by the way, we're going to go ahead and file charges against this kid and push for your child to be in juvie for a year for misgendering someone's child and not calling them their proper pronoun. This is a demonic.
Insane.
These people, they fought hard for this one, but we fought back. The Libertarian Party of Colorado has been really, really vital in fighting back against some of these issues, but they are determined. They are also there's a Christian camp. I was up there in the mountains just this past weekend, and I saw it for the first time. And it's Idra Hajj. Yes, that's the name of the camp. And it stands for I'd rather have Jesus. It's a Christian camp for children. Well, of course, the state of Colorado can't leave well enough alone and can't leave persecuting Christians alone. So they're forcing the children who are coming for summer camp this year to all, you know, everybody just shower in the same bathrooms. If a male child identifies as a female child, then he, being 15 and almost fully grown, can shower with little girls. You know, Colorado needs some help.
Well, a lot of people that live in Colorado escape from California. That's why Colorado looks the way it does. That's not how Colorado was originally, because it was very much, you know, it was a Republican state.
Yeah,
very conservative.
I've heard that was way before I arrived, but it's
you're
right.
You got some of those, you know, escapees of California, because that's California mentality. It just is. Absolutely. I'm very surprised they were able to pass something like that, because each state has a constitution, and that violates the First and the 10th Amendment, because the 10th Amendment says you can't create any laws that would take away prior laws. And being the First Amendment, you have freedom of speech, and you're demanding somebody do a certain type of speech that completely violates the First Amendment. So, like I said, I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked, right? Because they've learned from Florida. And we will just use DeSantis as an example. If you hold the majority, you can kind of do whatever you want. But here's the linchpin. You can't do whatever you want. And that law can be taken to the Supreme Court, which it should. Now it's going to disseminate everywhere that you can't do that. You cannot do that.
Correct. And it will be, it will be settled law at that point. And they have, the state of Colorado is already being sued from several angles. They are being sued because the governor should have never signed it. But these, dare I say, these individuals and their proclivities toward children, is insatiable. They are there was no reason for that. So as I mentioned in the previous segment, when you had those beautiful women, that nobody here knows about that. Those terms that they used, I've never heard.
Wow.
And the people in this state would so benefit from that level of knowledge and experience. I am so happy that I caught those beautiful women. So please extend my greetings to them, and I would definitely like to talk to them.
Oh, absolutely. I'll look. I will call them both and set up a meeting because
Praise
they're
God.
definitely, looking to help others, and they want to extend this through all 50 states and teaching other individuals how to be counselors. Because, like they both said, it's a space that nobody really thinks about the social aspect of it and how
Right.
these children even got there. Right. And just having proper terms, because a lot of times with these children, they go through transition, there's nobody left for them. They're just tossed out. This is like,
Correct.
yay, you did all of this, rah, rah, rah. You got all the rah-rahs and all the praise. And then after everything is done and you're having issues, there's nobody there for you. And they don't have to be.
Wow.
That's the detriment. And nobody knows that part. It's crazy.
Wow. That is a great point. So, and then you have the detransitioners who are,
Yeah.
who
And no
need
one's there
that
for them.
support. Yeah.
Yeah. The psychologists, because they're like, we don't know what to do with you. We know how to get you to, basically throw your whole life away. But now that you've thrown your whole life away, we can't help you because you've made your decision. It is definitely what Satan does, right? Satan will tell you, oh, yeah, this is great. This is wonderful. And then when you make that decision, he said, I didn't tell you to do that.
Right.
But you said it was great. But I didn't tell you to. I didn't tell you to use your free will to make that decision.
Right. that is so true. Satan is a Democrat, I swear.
Look, the way they're rolling these days. But see, I wanted to extend your wellness segment because you do follow politics, and I just wanted you, outside of that bill, if there is there anything else you wanted to make us aware of or share with us that we should, know that's happening in the political realm.
Let's see. One thing I've noticed that is that's taking place is people have, those of us who have been in this conservative space for a long time, because I've been at this since 2015, and we have been abused. And I have had so many of my social media accounts nuked. That's why you don't see me on TikTok anymore, because they don't particularly care for Black conservative voices, particularly women. So they just nuke my account and say, oh, that sometimes they give me an explanation, sometimes they don't. But this news is where we're at in this political space is extremely important. One of the big things that's happening is the ICE arrests. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that because people are going to start to you have these people who come after these ICE raids. Well, when these ICE raids are happening, and they're trying to stop it, and they're getting in between, the ICE agents and the other federal agents who are conducting these operations. And they say, well, you need a warrant. Is it signed by a judge? Is it signed by a judge? They don't need that. That is a fact. Their supposed due process has already taken place, because all of these individuals that they are starting to go after have already had ICE detainers on them. Right. They have been through the court system, and they have already determined you are removable, but you've been running and we haven't caught you, but now we caught you. So what's striking to me in this time is the lengths that these people are willing to go to protect these foreign nationals who are unlawfully present in this country after destroying the country during the 2020 pandemic and forcing lockdowns like they did in the state of Colorado, forcing the medical procedures, we'll call it, and we still haven't recovered from that. We still haven't recovered from what happened to the youth in this country who had to do drive-by graduations. We still have not recovered from the online learning platforms that rendered children completely disinterested from education. So, you know, with all of that said, back to the ICE raids, that people are going to have to get used to this kind of shock and awe, these operations that are happening in broad daylight, because no matter how many of these activist judges, and that is something that should never be in the same sentence. They are completely diametrically opposed. You can't be impartial if you're an activist, because you're fighting with your belief system in mind, and you're totally not in your space of executing proper jurisprudence. So there has been a rash of national injunctions with these judges every time President Trump initiates an executive order. You got some judge in Colorado. There was this judge here. You got judges in DC. They'll go and they'll find the judges that they know will be who will do whatever they're told, basically. And so here they come with these nationwide injunctions, and it's just, you know, over 200 of them. This has never happened before. They are blowing up the judicial system. They are blowing up. It is mind-boggling to see the lengths that these people are willing to go to with their TDS, their Trump derangement syndrome, and how they are willing to just put this country into, they say, a constitutional crisis, but I think it's worse than that, because they brainwashed so many people. I mean, have you seen these ICE raids and as of yet, and how people are being rounded up because they're violent? They're already criminals because they crossed the border illegally. I don't care who you are, mamas, daddies, aunties, uncle, baby mamas, mamas. If you cross the border illegally without authorization under the Biden administration, you have committed crimes. So
yes, absolutely.
Have you seen these? And how do you feel about that?
And Tom Homan, he actually had an interview where he said, you know, we are trying to work with local law enforcement, right, when they have detained these individuals, to actually go to the detention centers to get them, so we don't have to put the public at risk. However, these detention centers release these people before ICE can get there.
They do that in Colorado.
And they're doing it on purpose. And to me, that's where federal arrests need to be made. Because if they're doing this on purpose, then they need to be arrested, period, because they're violating federal law. They're putting the public at risk senselessly. Right. And I think the one you're talking about, there's two, actually. The judge that tried to, you know, get her people out through a back door, and they still got them, right, because they had to come out somewhere. And then the other one, I think she was trying to defend a female, and they found out that ICE was going to show up, and they made this big old scene. And now she's going, as a judge, she's going to be arrested. I was like, okay, so you're going to be disbarred and arrested. Another one, I think in California, he had somebody hiding in his house. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're the judge. This is why people are so disgusted with the judicial system. It's because of people like this. And it's like, how did they get in there? You cannot, to your point, you can't be an activist and a judge, and you can't legislate from the benches. And that's what they're doing. You know, because I have people in my life, they're like, well, if a judge did it, it's got to be factual. I said, no, not. I'm a paralegal. No.
See, you know.
Oh,
This
I
is this.
absolutely do know. They're bringing all of these, I would call them slap suits, right? Which
Mm,
can be thrown out of court, but they can put them in place to bide them time
that's
because
exactly right. You're right.
that's
That's
all
what.
it is. They're like speed bumps, right?
Ah,
And they're like, if we can create enough speed bumps
right,
legally,
right,
maybe people will get tired of coming after us. But see, what they haven't realized, and they're kind of slow on this one, is you're actually setting up a precedent to create a situation where you're not going to be able to get away with anything. Like the Supreme Court, they just already said that a lower court cannot tell the executive branch what to do. That's why 350 Venezuelans are getting deported.
right. As they should. As they should. They are. This has never happened to this degree. I mean,
No.
this is. It's almost. You wonder, what do they have on you? Like all of you, because there's no
Mm-hmm.
way that you're all true believers in your delusion. And they think that they are, I think you guys mentioned this in the other segment, that they think in their psychotic minds that they are right, that they
Mm-hmm.
are helping the children, as you were discussing, that they are the ones who are helping them through their oppression. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, no,
Yeah.
you're destroying 250 years of legal what
Legal precedent and
this.
progress. It's sad. Like, I don't think our judicial system has been perfect, right? But it was set up to be fair.
Yes, it's the best in the world. It
That's why
really is.
people try to fight to get here. But
Yeah,
when you're just willy nilly saying, okay, well, if you step on our soil, that means you're covered by the Constitution. No, it doesn't. Jasmine,
no, it
correct it.
does.
Let me correct you, ma'am. No, it does not. It means that if you are here on our soil, you will have to go to your embassy if
Correct.
something really goes down, if you're a true foreign national. Now, if you're just here illegally, you get automatically deported. There's nothing for you because you committed a crime. You
Right,
did not come here through the proper port of entry. We
right,
have laws. And it's a slap in the face, in my opinion, when people come here illegally to those who actually have applied to be here and be
right.
here naturalized legally. They're not even thinking about those individuals. And these are the Democrats. They don't care about you guys doing it right. They're supporting the
No, they
people that are
don't.
doing it wrong. And it's crazy. It's crazy to me. I'm in my 50s and I'm like, what happened to our congressmen and women? What are you doing? Yeah. Right. It's so crazy. It's you have to laugh to keep from like wanting to punch through a wall. Because they're like, what are
Every
you
day.
doing? What have you done?
Every day. They don't. It's like, wait a minute. I've never seen a judge take a defendant out through the back door who's an American. Americans get in trouble, and this is what they're trying to see. They need the majority of public support to accept this delusion, and
Yes.
if they can have that, then they can have their mobs who show up at these
Mhm.
ice raids,
Yep.
blubbering and foaming at the mouth and screeching about,
Yep.
needing some judge signed it.
Mhm.
So we have laws in place, and as you just mentioned, you come here illegally, and people are confused. I was in the federal agency during the height of these so-called migrant crisis times, and our my coworkers, the entire agency was tasked with stopping your regular job. Stop what you're doing. I know you work in a nice office, it's air conditioned, whatever, but we need you to stop and drop everything. During the pandemic, by the way, we need you to go to the border, and we need you to go to other cities in the interior that they had already started setting up shop to process
Mhm.
these illegals once they were handed to our people by CBP, that is Customs and Border Protection. Yeah.
Wow.
Federal employees made bank. You hear me?
Wow.
I don't care. I'm telling it. Federal employees made bank on border duty. They made bank, double overtime, triple overtime, and they're already up around a GS 11, GS 12, GS 15. Can you imagine the amount of money? Some of these people paid off their house.
Oh yeah, easy during that time.
They
Well, they
made
in the
they,
when they say the Appropriations Act
taxpayer
of
money.
2021, yeah, they set aside like $500 billion to do a lot of this stuff. That's outside of the $12 billion
Right,
for
right.
the unaccompanied minor aliens. I mean, there were billions of dollars set aside for this. It was
Yep.
crazy if
Oh,
people could see it.
absolutely. For these NGOs, oh my God. That's USAID. That's when they started going, oh, because Trump,
Yeah,
and Doge, they started
clawing
clawing
it
that
back.
money back. And that's why they're rabid.
Mhm.
That's why they're
Till
rabid now.
today. Till today, they are still fighting with that. I think there was a judge who they're trying to stop the release of, I forget which department it is, Department of Education. Yeah, they're trying to
Oh,
say that you can't fire some of these employees, and I'm like, really? If honestly, I mean, to get rid of the agency would take an act of Congress, but it is under the president's purview to
mhm.
fire anybody in the Department of Education because it falls under him.
Yes. His
This is
article
what people
power.
don't realize. There are certain agencies that fall under the executive branch.
Correct. You are
It
so
just
right.
is what it is.
Yes, it is. And they know this and they don't care. They are just hoping that the public, if they can get the public to accept it, because the public doesn't know these
Right.
ins and outs. They don't know the laws. They've never been a federal employee. They've never worked in the legal system as you have, for example. They don't know anything. They're armchair quarterback. They're sitting on their couch watching MSDNC and CNN, and they think they become some sort of expert, and they don't know. So they just do the outrage. And I
Mhm.
keep, which I knew that as soon as these ICE raids started, that the I call them the Jezebel whore, Sodom and Gomorrah media, that they were going to start with the whiny
Yes.
violin stories. Oh, this poor mother get deported and she's been here for 35 years. Okay, well, she had 35 years to become a citizen or become naturalized,
Right?
and she didn't
What?
bother. What?
What are we
What?
doing? I put Dollar Tree on blast this week with ICE. I was like, oh, yeah, there was an employee at the cash register that couldn't speak English. I know you are not a citizen because, at the very minimum, to become a citizen, you have to read and write and speak English fluently,
Yep.
enough to have a job like that.
Yep.
Your
Yep.
manager shouldn't be covering for you. But see, we're not going to do California up here in Georgia. I've been there, I lived that. I'm just
Wow.
saying.
Oh, you lived in oh God.
See, I see the takeover. See, when I was 7 years old, I saw how the people my age had to be the translators for their parents and their grandparents. And that's how it started. And then you had all the ESL classes, and that took away the resources. I graduated high school with a fifth grade reading level. That's how bad the system is. And I'm in my 50s. Luckily, they caught it when I was in college and I was able to get to the reading level I needed to be. But not everybody has that. Yeah. Oh, they're destroying our country from the inside out. Like when I say it's a war and we got to stop people, it's a war. We got to stop people.
Indeed. Or they have no, what really boggles my mind is particularly the Black folks who are still willing to accept the Democrat Party after what they've done. They literally brought in foreigners
Yeah.
from over 160 countries across the planet to
Yep.
replace us under this UN Migration Pact
Yes.
document
Yep.
that they
Yep.
have been following.
Mm-hmm.
They literally attempted to replace all of us, and they keep talking about, oh, reparations. You're not getting reparations. The illegals got the reparations. You get nothing. You will get nothing. You will now be in a merit-based system where you're going to get off Medicaid, you're going to get off
Mm.
welfare, and you are going to start to chart your own course and not have the government be your husband and the father of your children.
Right.
So this country's going in a better direction, and people are kind of shocked by what's going on. And that's the gnashing of teeth and the whining and the, oh, he's taking me off food stamps, and oh, he's taking me off Medicaid. No, well, that's not true either, because there again, I was in the federal agency that started the unwinding process. It's called
Mm-hmm.
unwinding under Joe Biden. They started unwinding. This was a pandemic era action, and
Mm-hmm.
it guaranteed that anyone who applied for Medicaid got Medicaid. Everybody got on it, and including the illegals that they were bringing in here under the pandemic. And by the way, they never had to have the medical procedures.
Mm-mm.
Never. As soon as they crossed, they went where they went. No shots required. Anyway, this
Yep.
Medicaid unwinding, I worked with region partners. It was called, we were region partners too, because they were afraid that this would be politically damaging to Joe Biden, because he hadn't self-destructed at that point, and they were going to
Right.
run him again in 2024 and steal another election. So they were trying to cover for what was happening with the unwinding, and people being the Medicaid going from being governed on the federal level back to the states.
Right.
And, here's some money, here's some federal money for Medicaid program, do with it what you will. But no, people don't know that the unwinding, and people were kicked off, millions of people were kicked off Medicaid under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But it's not mainstream news, because that would have been political suicide for them. And they were
Right.
already underwater with the inflation and all the illegals, and the other things that they were doing with all the transgender, and people started to see
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
administration was just
Yeah.
crazy. Everything they were doing was crazy. So the Medicaid unwinding started under Joe Biden. And by the way, they robbed Medicare. They robbed Medicare of, what was it, over $200 billion
Yeah.
to pay for their green energy, Green
Mm-hmm.
New Deal
Yeah.
projects that are failing by the day. And President Trump is taking all that away through the EPA, for example. He appointed Lee Zeldin, who used to be up in New York, thank God. Um, it's things are changing so fast that it's
Yeah.
hard for them to keep up. It's hard for us to keep up, but they are
Oh yeah.
changing for the better. They're
Yeah.
changing for
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that to what you were saying, just with the unwinding and the different things that were going on under Joe Biden, the one good thing that came out of the whole Medicare situation is that they can now negotiate the cost.
Correct.
That was the one it was like that was the one thing that you did that was good.
Little
Right?
thing.
That we can negotiate that part of it. And so I'm glad that the Trump
Mm-hmm.
administration is taking advantage of that. And I know you said,
Right.
reparations is out the window. But one thing people that are looking into reparations is looking at Trump's 10-point plan that he did set aside for Black Americans, because he does see the need for it. But here's the thing, it's the execution. Because what
Correct.
we've seen for the Black community over decades is that, organizations like the Congressional Black Caucus, organizations like the NAACP that were supposed to be helping the Black community have nothing but destroyed it and watch it be destroyed. And so there is a grassroots movement really rearing up to take over those organizations and right the wrongs, and you know what I mean,
Good.
really steer the ship. Because I have other politicians that are saying, let's bring trades back into the schools, let's give people the skill sets that they need to actually be entrepreneurs, and
Yeah.
to not necessarily have to work for somebody, and if they want to they can, but they don't have to. And it's
Right.
getting out of that mindset. And like you said, getting back to the merit based system. It's like, there are some people that are in a situation where they do need assistance, but then there are other people that just, they need to be steered in the right direction to make better decisions, right? But to
Right.
have a skill set that they can
Mm-hmm.
survive off of, not that they're having to beg bread to be like, oh, give me a job. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm a carpenter, or, I'm an electrician, I'm a welder. I can actually utilize my skills over here,
Right.
right? and make some good money. See, people don't realize those positions that I just mentioned, they make over six figures a year.
Yes, they do.
I'm
Yes, they
just
do.
saying.
Do you know what's coming back is what I had been taking some classes the last semester. I may do it again because I I am able to go to school through the military, but um I've already done school, but this is I'm just adding to my
Right.
education
Hmm.
portfolio, as it were. And I went with there's a welding school with it
Wow.
within this school. And I
Okay.
went and I talked to the guys because I saw Miller. Miller is one of the top producers of welding equipment. And I watch off-road videos and I do a lot of off-roading and it's fun. So I said, Miller's there. Let me go and talk to the Miller reps. And so what's happening is they're offering at this college the the option for high school kids to take welding classes
Oh,
and to start welding for a few hours in high school, and then when they graduate they go straight to the college and they get their certification and they can become master welders. The classes are full. Like, there's you have to be on a waiting list.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
high school kids, these kids are gen what are we, Gen Z, Gen Alpha,
Yeah.
Gen Z, mostly Gen
Yeah.
Z. They're figuring out, you know what? I don't have to go to these indoctrination centers for 4
No.
years.
Nope. Six
I can
months.
go get a job as a welder. I can get a job as a welder and start at 70,
Mm.
$80,000 a year coming out of
Yeah.
high school.
Right.
That's how it used to
Exactly.
be. And you can afford
Ex-
a family on, one income.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
it's
that's
coming
how it
back.
should be. Yeah. And I'm
That's how it
glad
should
it
be.
is. And manufacturing is coming back. I know a lot of people scoffed
Yes.
at President Trump, but he did. I want to say there's the partnership with the Japanese steel manufacturer, and they're coming back.
Yeah.
These things can come back because we already have the infrastructure built. You see the skeletons all along the road, right? So it's not that it
Right.
can't come back. It's who's willing to bring it back. Right? It's who's willing to start that company and have it be successful. And with the trade tariffs and everything going that President Trump is doing, it's put our country in a better position. And we need to take advantage of it so we can stay in a good position, because I don't know what it is about people who want to see their own death and destruction, but it needs to stop. I don't understand it.
We live here. What the heck? We live here.
And
We
you're
live in
bombing.
America.
You
Dirt
want
to
to bomb
America.
us.
What? We live here.
And see,
What?
that's somebody that's entitled, who's never been anywhere else, who doesn't
Sure.
understand how, what it looks like to wake up without running water and no
Mm.
food, no refrigerator, no electricity. That's an entitled mindset. Because I'm like, okay, if you really don't like it, leave. Find somewhere else
That's
to be
where
without
I'm at.
comfort.
Don't let the door hit you on the way.
Look, there
I
are
have,
plenty of
hey,
options out there for you. And a lot of people that leave, because I think I watched one of your other videos, they'll move to places like Ghana or,
yep.
over in Africa, and they come back like, what?
Mm.
Why
Mm.
did I leave? But, it was a good lesson. I'm
Mm.
just saying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead and see how that works out for you. They don't particularly like us here. They don't, they don't appreciate Western values, and they actually think they're better than us. So they don't really appreciate our way of what we call FBAs. Um,
Right.
and you had mentioned the president and his initiatives to set money aside. He did that in his
Mhm.
first administration under
Yes.
what was called the Platinum Plan.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
A
That's what
lot
I'm
of people
talking about.
don't know about that.
Yeah.
And that was $500 billion set aside. We have spent we have spent right at $1 trillion to support illegal aliens over the
Mhm.
past 4 years. And
Yeah.
President Trump had that plan in place, but the Democrats just fought and fought with the ridiculous Russia collusion and the impeachments and all of the
Mhm.
things to try to keep him hemmed up so he couldn't run the country. And he did an absolutely amazing job, even with all the headwinds of these crazy liberals and their determination to get rid of him. They don't seem to understand what's happening here. God's hand is on him, and he ain't going nowhere until the work that God has brought him here and kept him here with them trying to take him out. Until the work is done, he's here, and they might as well just get somewhere and be quiet or take the money you stole and leave.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was it the energy secretary? They found that on the way out the door. By the way, 93 billion
Yeah,
in
Jennifer
December.
Granholm. Uh-huh.
$93 billion.
With a P. In 76 days. $93 billion. Just
Look,
and
y'all
it
left, and
and
nobody said
left.
anything. Nobody's
Wait a
arrested.
minute.
What? Come
If I
on.
can go to Walmart and take a bottle of isopropyl alcohol for
Right.
99 cents, they stole nine. That's stealing. That is stealing. That is not fraud, waste, and abuse. That is stealing. They
It's beyond that.
stole $96 billion. What?
Yeah. And how do you get away? It's the getting away with it part that's killing me. So I'm really hoping that the DOJ will investigate that
Uh,
and that there is opportunity to claw back some of that money,
that money. Yeah,
right?
Lisa is trying to. He's
Because,
clawing back some of that money
yeah,
because that is
this
ridiculous.
is sad. This is
That is
sad, but I'm glad that they're finding it. Grateful
they're
for
finding
Doge. Grateful for
that
the
is
people that are on the team, right? Because a lot of people, they go, oh, they're just sycophants for Trump and they're just over loyalists. No, they actually do respect their country. And it's just a team of people who have the mindset that, okay, we don't want to kill ourselves and we don't want to destroy the country. We actually want to make things better. That does
the
not make them
nihilism is
sycophants.
exhausting. I must say. I'm, how are you angry with Elon? He's the dude finding the fraud. Like he's the one finding all the money they stole. That's all it is. I see these dumb. It's look. Dr. Noni is always these people. I'm telling you, I'm not. People think I'm just targeting, but I'm telling you, living in Colorado, it is
Yeah.
baby boomer white liberals. It is always them. And they go to the Tesla dealerships and they
Mhm.
protest and they hold up their signs, hands up, hands up. And I'm like, hands off what? Dummy, the money's already been stolen. Why are you out here? Oh, I know why. Because you have 3 or 4 retirement checks coming in every month, and you have your home that's been paid for 20 years. And you
Mhm.
don't care about these young people who can't afford a home because of all the money that the baby boomer generation made. And now they have all these assets and they're just liquid to the eyeballs. So, they can be misled and they can afford ideology. These kids cannot afford ideology. They're coming up in the world. They need to be able to pay their bills.
Yeah.
Why are
Yeah.
you selfish like that?
Yeah, true. And some of them are actually paid activists, which people
Yeah,
don't realize. That a lot of
yeah.
these people are paid by the hour. By the way, they will show up at 10 and leave at noon, like on time. Okay. They clock in and clock out. I mean, they even had it for like the Diddy trial. They had people wearing t-shirts and paying them $20 an hour to stand out there to support him. I'm like,
What?
what are we doing? I mean, it's almost like we're living in the Truman Show. I kid you not. Kid you not. I wake up some days, I'm like, is this real? Okay, is this mic on? I guess it is because, yeah, y'all are
Okay.
just the worst. They're the worst.
Do you have to? I mean, you have to. I, I could not do that for money because I don't believe any of that. And they want and need people living in their delusion. And,
Mhm.
all of the paid,
They have to have
uh,
it. They
that
have to have it. to
they're
keep
not
the to
popular.
keep it going. Yeah.
They're trying to, get together the scrape out of the bottom of off the gum off the bottom of their shoes to find candidates. The Democrats is who I'm
Hmm.
referring to just to be a viable candidate for the midterms, because they know that they've imploded. They already lost,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
now they're, oh, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. It's like, oh yeah, please, yes.
That's
Oh
not going to work. But Jasmine Crockett, she actually said that they found a white boy, by the way.
yes,
And that's exactly what she said. The
yes.
donors have found somebody that they're going to support. So I was like, okay, it's okay. Hold on. So you're
Uh-huh.
telling me that y'all have to get behind this person and you're just going to force your constituents to get behind this person. Nobody has a choice. Even if
Right,
somebody else came
democracy.
up that was better, you've chosen who you're going
Mhm.
to.
Oh,
Okay.
what?
But you talk about the Republican Party. Look, this is why I
Oh,
started my own party, because I was like, y'all are a lot. That's a lot.
ah, noted, noted. Because they call it the uniparty now, because it's two
Mhm.
sides of the same doggone coin. They
It's
are. Where does one end and the other begin? They both been stealing money. I mean, they both been trading, stock trading, based on their knowledge from the committees they're in. Even on the Republican side, they both been doing it. So it's, who do we trust? Because nothing's getting done. The Doge cuts have not been codified into the big beautiful bill, and we need that. uh
right.
what are y'all doing? Y'all still on vacation for another week? They don't come back till next Tuesday.
Yeah.
They're on vacation more than they're
They work, what is it, like 151 days a year or something like that.
and get paid
Something,
full
it's
time.
roughly under two, yeah, it's under 200 days a year that they work, but they
Uh-huh.
are paid for a full year. In my opinion, nobody should get a salary until our budget is balanced. That's my opinion. You don't get paid any monies, and you don't get any donor money. And if we find out, you'll go to jail. Like, this is what I want. And you
Mm,
balance the budget. Yeah. And if you want to be in Congress, you need to hold a job. You can't
right.
just rely on the federal government. Those are the stipulations that I want to see, and term limits, of course, because
I
people
think we
can
need to
stop
stipulate.
dying in the house. Stop
Oh
dying on the
God,
floor.
girl,
Stop.
Diane
I
Feinstein.
mean, McConnell, he's in a wheelchair. He can't speak. Dianne Feinstein. And these are just the recent ones, because there were other people before them that were there till they were in their 90s, literally dying on the floor of the House and the Senate. Literally.
That
What do we do?
racist Strom Thurmond, was that his name? Yeah, Strom
Mhm.
Thurmond.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Robert Byrd. Uh-huh.
It's like, this isn't a lifestyle. It's okay, I'm going to make them juxtaposed to welfare.
Yes, it
This
is.
is something that you do to support your country, limited. And then you go on to do better things. But it's not a lifestyle, and you've made it a lifestyle living off of the federal government. You're just doing it a different way. But you want to look down on the people that take welfare.
That,
Look, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Saying.
and you would be correct with that hand. They are, I have said in one of my videos that got nuked when the channels got nuked on TikTok, they are the credential class white liberals. They are the new welfare queens. They
Mm-hmm.
used to say that about black women in the 80s and the
Yeah.
90s. Now it's them. They don't want to let go of their USAID money.
Nope.
They did not have a plan B. That was their plan. And they were able to become heads of agency this and director of agency that, and NGO director of this, and
Mm-mm.
NGO EVP of that. And that's how that was their plan.
Yeah.
How dare you take this money from me? I went to Harvard.
Yeah, we saw all those wonderful protests
You
in
on
front of
welfare.
USAID. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, really? You're
Mm-hmm.
taking people's money, and you're telling the people's money that you're taking that you should be taking it. Like, it was the worst circular conversation that I ever saw. It was like, you're really doing this to us? Like, those of us that are awake, right? We're like, no. Stop that.
Right.
But then the people that weren't awake were like, yeah, we can't shut it down. So you're okay with being abused. Got it. Got it.
Well, but you don't do nothing. Like, I worked with y'all. You did. Our agency was put together by mandate, but congressional mandate, because of the extreme backlog of Medicare cases.
Right.
And they created all these departments and all these offices across the country. Well, okay, the mandamus was fulfilled. They got all of these cases down, and it took 3-4 years, but we worked and got 800,000 Medicare cases for seniors processed. They went through adjudication, they went through hearing. I worked with judges and attorneys, and we got these cases adjudicated. Okay. What do we need these departments for now? The work has been
Right.
done. The court case has said, okay, because that's what happened is HHS got sued because of all this extreme backlog.
Right.
So backlog's gone. Why do we still have all these offices? Why do we still have all these people who are now comfortable in these federal positions and they don't want to leave?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
what Doge is doing.
Yep. Yep. And I don't even know if Kennedy's even gotten that far, as far as, with staffing, right? Like who needs to be here, who doesn't. I'm sure he'll get to it because,
He'll
we
get
have
to
to
it.
remember, like, he really didn't start working till March. It's
Right.
just now the end of May. I know everything's been moving at such a neck break speed that people were like, yeah, why isn't he done? Because he just got literally, he hasn't been there for 90 days. Calm down.
And look at that thing that just left. Who was the HHS secretary? Who was actually a dude who was a mental patient dressing up as a
Needs to be in
female.
prison, by the way.
Okay,
Allegedly. I'll say
that
it. I'll say allegedly needs
no.
to be put in prison for what was allowed.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. That all of the initiatives with. I used to get the emails from that individual and talking about the initiatives for transitioning children and gender
Mm-hmm.
affirming care under the
Mm-hmm.
HHS umbrella, because then that means it's on the federal level and it's
Yeah.
trickling down to the cities and the states and the
Mm-hmm.
municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad to see that gone. I am
Yeah.
just
And the
that
title of
individual.
first woman should be removed. It should be
Oh my God.
revoked. If the
Oh
Trump
my God.
administration is listening, there has never been a woman in that
No,
position.
no.
So revoke it immediately.
That is
Okay. Let's fix
that
some
is
things.
insane.
Just saying. It was disgusting. I'm not looking forward to June. And if June happens, and I'm going to cover this in my show tomorrow, I told my listeners, we need to really look at the state and local laws that have lunacy laws against having any type of provocative material in front of minors. And
Mhm.
if things like that happen, people just need to call the police, and the police need to do their job. We're not going to have the degeneracy, people walking around in socks, nothing but socks
Ugh.
is not pride. Okay. You're just
Right,
being a degenerate. And
right,
we're gonna stop that. Shutting that
right,
down in this
right.
country. No
That's
more.
that. You've had your fun. Okay. The devil has had his way.
Yeah. New
And
sheriff in town.
now grown folks are taking over, and we don't have to go to the Vatican to perform these exorcisms. get this get this mess up out of here. They're destroying these children. This is the next generation. I know they've done away with a lot of youth programs. I've watched it
Yeah.
in the county I lived in, Jefferson County, Colorado, closest to the west, the gateway to the west, as they call it. They've done away with youth programs because they spent so much money taking care of illegals. Remember, this
Mhm.
was where all that Aurora in
Yeah.
Trinidad
Oh,
happened.
ooh.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Okay.
I was there for all that too. They
Yeah.
uh, this there are going to be some. Colorado's going to be on the radar of the federal government for a while. You had this Secretary of State here, Jenna Griswold, who tried to have President Trump taken off the ballot.
Yes, I
She
remember
claimed
that.
she had nothing to do with it, but she absolutely did. She's the Secretary of State. That's the voting system, you moron. Yeah, she was. She orchestrated it. Well, she's kind of dumb, so I don't think she orchestrated it, but she definitely pushed that through and then pretended, oh, my hands are clean. I have nothing to do with it. So there's that, and there's Tina
Yeah.
Peters. You've heard of that, of Tina Peters. She is the Gold Star, military Gold Star mother. Her son, uh, Remington Peters, was killed on active duty serving his country. And
Mm.
she is in prison for 9 years because of the same aforementioned Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, who threw that woman in prison when she was guilty of the same thing 100 times worse. Literally, while she was putting that woman through court and going, that woman was going through hell and being excoriated by the judge and called an election denier. All she did was image the which is her job as the Mesa County clerk for
Okay.
elections. She
Right.
took an imaging of the systems because
Yeah.
there were just things that were not right. Well,
Right.
these people were getting ready to erase everything forever, just erase it. So she
Right.
caught it before they had a chance to erase it.
Yeah.
They threw her in prison. She's still in prison right now
Yeah.
in
See,
Colorado.
and for people out there that don't know, you're actually supposed to keep voting records anywhere from 2 to 5 years.
Yes,
And the
ma'am.
reason is if there's any recounts or recalls, or if you need to just verify that people are who they said they were and they were eligible to vote in our process, you can confirm that. That's why you have to keep those documents. And so it was
Yes, ma'am.
always curious to me because people are like, oh, yeah, just get rid of them. I'm like, no. Who are you people? You don't
Yeah,
understand document retention policies? Like, why are you, well, how do you have
correct.
this job? Like, those are my basic questions. How did you get this job? Because I have like a lot more knowledge of you, and that's just basic knowledge, but you have
Right,
this job. It has always been crazy to me to see, like, I'm like, okay, you just have people that are doers. They're not
right,
leaders. They just do
right.
what they're told. They don't ask any questions. They
Mm-hmm,
collect their paycheck and they go home.
mm-hmm.
And as long as nobody's messing with them, they're okay with that. But for
Yep.
people that actually care, they ask questions. So, like, why are we doing this? Is this the right thing to do? Are you sure about that? What about an audit? You know what I mean? Those are the people that
Audit.
care, and those are the people that get thrown in jail, unfortunately.
Yes. Unfortunately, they're the
Yeah.
heroes, but it's on the radar of the president. It's on the radar. He
Okay.
has mentioned her by name. It
Good.
is on the radar of uh, Rogan Hadley, I believe his name is. He's
Okay.
DC Drano on X,
Okay.
and
Okay.
he is. There are people who are looking at this and trying to, especially since. Did you see the Chrisleys? The president gave them a full pardon. I think
Oh, I hadn't
yesterday.
seen that yet. Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Chrisleys. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were getting, their daughter was on Insta, and she was going to get her parents. So I'm really glad about
Okay.
that because they didn't do
Okay.
anything wrong. Give me a break.
Yeah, because I
Oh,
always
oh,
wondered, I was like, what did they do wrong? I don't know. Because being a
taxes, blah
paralegal,
blah.
I
Same
see
me.
like so much criminal behavior, and I'm like, okay, they got away with that, but you're getting them for this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's just weird. It's like, okay, maybe there was something undercutting that you didn't get from them that you wanted. Maybe you were trying to blackmail them or bribe them, and you didn't get what you wanted. So you're like, okay, we're just going to throw you in jail.
and they
Using
did.
the
They did
judicial system as a weapon.
throw them in jail. Just throw them in jail. So with
Wow.
them being released, thank God, their family is back together. They
Good.
can go, start their new lives. So I'm thinking, Tina Peters, they were saying, well, it can't apply because it's a state issue. He has Article 2 powers that supersede Article 10.
Yeah.
So, or
Yeah.
the 10th Amendment. So, let's just calm down. I truly believe President Trump is not going to allow Tina Peters to sit in prison
No.
for literally with the Secretary of State to cover her, you know what?
Yeah.
To cover her, she literally, I'm not kidding, while the court was going on, while they were in court, there were over 600 BIOS passwords that were sitting open on the internet for over 4 months from her office while they were in trial, putting that Gold Star mother in prison. The Libertarian Party of Colorado sued this wench, and of course, with, you know, the incestuous relationships with the judges and the prosecutors and the courts, blah, blah, blah. Of course, she was, you know, she was excused. And, you know, she did a so-called investigation on herself, and she found that she didn't do anything wrong. Hallelujah.
Surprise.
Wow.
Why are we surprised?
This state is.
Wow. That is so sad that that's happening in Colorado. But it's happening, you know, in Illinois. It's happening in California. It's happening, you know, Georgia is not off, you know, the list of, you know, anything nefarious happening here. You know, we've got somebody getting ready to run for governor. The last name is Bottoms. I'm wanting to run a campaign against her because I don't want to see her be the governor of our state. I think she will totally destroy our state here. You know, Kim, yeah, I'm not a super fan, but guess what? Guess who he's supporting? Ms. Bottoms. That's who he's supporting. That's who he's throwing his support behind. Yeah. It says a lot, doesn't it? I know. Oh, I can't hear you. Oops. She'll be right back with us, guys. I know I've just been enjoying our conversation so much. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to let it ride. But she'll be back with us in a minute. But yes, these are the interesting things that are happening around the world. And I'm just so grateful that, you know, Karen's been able to join us. Let me add her back to the stage. There you go.
There we go. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
I just refreshed.
Okay, no problem.
In Georgia, is anybody going to run again? Ms. Bottoms?
I know a couple of people running for lieutenant governor. I don't know of anybody running for governor yet. I know the current lieutenant governor, he is going to run for governor, but I don't know who the Republican Party is actually going to tap to be governor. Does that make sense? Because they still have to go through their what is it called? The oh goodness, the name is escaping me. The preliminaries. So they haven't done the preliminary run yet. And I know that Lance Bottoms, she's, you know, actually confirmed that she is going to run, but Kemp is getting behind her.
Wait a minute, you mean
his lieutenant governor?
Lance Bottoms?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
She's running for governor?
She's running for governor. Yeah. I'm not a fan. No. No. All the no's.
Destroyed the city of Atlanta. What?
I'm aware fully. You know, people don't have a long-term memory that's very short-term, and if people are just so excited. But like I said, Kemp is getting behind her, apparently. I don't know. It's alleged.
How do these people keep failing up?
I don't know. I don't like it.
I didn't know it was her. Oh, come on. Come on.
Yeah. It's that.
Oh, she's black.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. And I'm not going for it. You know, I mean, just because you have the same hue as me and you are a female doesn't make me want to vote for you. Because I've already seen your track record and I don't like it. I already know that you're okay with people being here illegally because you said it in an interview.
Yeah, she did. You're right.
You will turn Georgia into California. I'm trying to warn people you don't want that because you can't change it back. Once it goes down that rabbit hole of liberalism, it doesn't get to go back. You can get certain parts of it back in certain parts of your state, but your state as a whole, you'll destroy it. I've seen it. You see California, it's on
Yeah.
fire.
Oh,
People are leaving in droves. They can't stay there. Just saying. Yeah, yeah.
you've got to be kidding me. Okay, I guess that's just the way that. Mm. God, oh please, Lord.
Look,
Just,
look, I got you with that one.
I need a goody powder after that. That's just, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's I really pray there's a MAGA candidate. And honestly, MAGA is people, it's now synonymous with sanity, because it's minding our business, leaving other people's alone, conservative values. And we're, people forget how conservative Black folks were until the great taking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the involvement of the,
Yeah.
the unholy
We
ones.
Yeah, we are a people who we care about others. We do hold very conservative values.
Yeah.
A lot of us are actually good with money. It's not all of
Yeah.
us that are bad with money and want to spend our money on rims and green cars and different things like that.
Just a
Some of us actually are business owners. I come from a family of business owners in various different industries.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
amazing.
we we, we want to see our country do better. We really, really do.
We do. We don't want our, and it's not fair. What has happened the last 4 years has not been fair to American citizens. And now, after spending so much time and money to coddle and court these foreigners, and now that you can't do it because you're not getting the federal money, now here they come again with, I saw in Congress, Ayanna Pressley and a couple of other Black Congress women. Now they want to talk about reparations. It's like, wait a minute, you've spent the last
HR
4 years.
40. Yeah, HR 40. Let's bring it back. No, let's not. Let's burn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, let's burn it because you tried 3 times and it didn't work.
It didn't work. It's not going to. Please just stop.
No. And
And
then
you're
I
not the
want to
right people.
say one lady was like, yeah, and we're gonna charge people more taxes to pay reparations. Like, not a
God.
bright idea. First of all, I don't want my taxes to go up to pay reparations for anything. No. Like I said, I'm looking at Donald Trump's 10-point plan. It makes sense, but it actually creates sustainability for the Black community. And that's, what we need.
Yes,
We
that is
need the
reparations.
sustainability so that we can carry on generationally and build wealth within the community, because that wealth that's built can never go away. And that's what
Right.
we need. We don't want to be so attached to the federal government the way the government wanted us, dependent upon them, right?
Right.
Saying, okay, we'll give you this if you vote for us. That's no longer the deal. Because we
Right.
know that everybody right now, unfortunately, in the House and Senate, you guys don't even work for us. You work for your self-interest and corporations that have put you in that seat, because just everybody out
Right.
there, a corporation can create bills and they can pay bills. They just can't vote.
That's
And
right.
that is why they buy politicians.
Mhm.
It's very simple, and it's very unfortunate.
It is, because we don't get what we want, but they campaign on what they're going to do for constituents. And I'm very disappointed that it took this long to get
Yeah.
the president's big, beautiful bill passed. It really bothers me that all of a sudden, these members of Congress and the Senate have found religion, and now they want to start to, we need to just cut more. We need to cut more. We need to save more money. You didn't say that when you were passing the Inflation Reduction Act, when y'all were dancing a jig on the congressional floor after passing those omnibus bills, voluminous, with $300 billion for Ukraine. That's another debacle. I don't care about Ukraine. I care about my country. So now all of a sudden, I don't want to spend all that money. I don't. Well, we're gonna just doom the next generation. You didn't care about that under Biden. You did not care. Now, all of a sudden, you care about saving money. Well, you've already doomed the next generation with the previous bills that were passed under Joe Biden for the Green New Nightmare and woke and DEI that only, by the way, the studies prove that DEI policy only 80% of the DEI appointments that are at executive level are white women.
Didn't benefit us at all. It's like I see our people as like a diving board. You know, everybody gets to jump a lot higher than we do. And we're just still
Right.
there
Like
as the
Kamala.
diving board. And people just get to launch off of. I'm like, okay, tired, exhausted. You know, I'm grateful for the things that my family's been able to do and other families have been able to do across the country. But I think it's just time for us to have that come to Jesus moment and realize we're not going to just be used like this anymore. Right. So stop
Correct.
putting things in place to use us. Right.
Correct.
You know, I'm glad they got rid of DEI because it harmed people.
Too.
And people didn't really see the harm in it unless you were harmed by it. Does that make sense?
Correct.
And I've seen it in real time because it happened to me and it happened to one of my coworkers. So I know what it looks like. So nobody gets to tell me that doesn't happen. No, yeah, it doesn't. I did not benefit from it. By the way, you know, having a master's degree and having people tell me, well, we can only, you know, give you this much. Even with all the papers that you have and all the experience that you have, we can't pay you any more than this. Yeah, that's what DEI did to me. Thanks. Appreciate you. When I get to be told, hey, we need you to train this attorney to do your job. Yeah, that's what happened to me. So nobody gets to talk to me about DEI being great ever.
You cannot be gaslit.
I'm sorry.
You cannot be gaslit. I love that too. That's why you're here, and that's why so many people love to hear what you have to say, because you cannot be gaslit, and you are. I am just so honored to be on your show and to have you and the Redemption Party, honey. This is, you know, we have to go in a different direction if these people are not going to honor our wishes. And they're not. They have shown us they're not.
Yeah. We have to stand up as we the people.
This is ours. That's why this country was created. It's, you know, that's why it says a more perfect union, because it's not perfect, but we are definitely striving to do that. You had mentioned also these people get in these lifetime appointments, and how dare you insinuate that they be replaced with another candidate. I honestly do not believe that we can have candidates like Sandy Cortez, for instance, aka AOC, who went straight from college to Congress. She's never had a job.
No, she was a bartender. That was the closest job she had. She was a bartender.
She was a
to Congress.
She was a part-time. She filled in. I'm going to tell you how I know this. She filled in probably for one of her friends who went home on, you know, a holiday vacation or whatever, and she probably filled in for her. She was at an event of a fundraiser where she was the bartender at this fundraiser. And this was back in 2019, right after she was elected to, you know, they primaried Joe Crowley, a 10-term Democrat in the 14th district of New York, and put this moron in there. She was at this event and she did not know her way around the bar. She did. What did you mix to get that? What did you? Oh, you really? Oh, okay. Here, let me try this. She had no idea what she was doing. So I don't even think she was a bartender full time. I think
she was a good actress.
She's an actress.
Yeah, they selected her. They
hired her.
selected her. They
Justice
had
Democrats.
a cattle call, apparently,
Yes,
and she got it.
she won.
She
Yep,
had the right look that they
yep,
were wanting. And
yep.
it's unfortunate because I mean, I've seen her grow in her acting ability and skills to be a lot more settled, but a
Mm,
lot of what they do is political theater. And I can
indeed.
see it. I have
Hmm.
an acting background as well. And I can see, and sometimes when they do stuff, I'm like, wow, this is staged. Okay.
Oh, there again, you cannot be gaslit. And that is
Yeah.
amazing. You know
Yeah,
it's the
especially that when Jasmine Crockett did the bleach blonde built body or whatever, I was like, that's such a line. That was a whole line. All of y'all practice that. Because you
oh
can
wow.
tell if you go back and watch it, they're throwing lines back and forth to each other. I'm not putting MTG under any type of bad spotlight, but I'm just saying because after that whole moment and situation, those are the only three women you really wanted to talk about in Congress, and they stood out. And then after that, you've seen AOC run around with Bernie Sanders trying to build herself up and build a brand while they're using the distraction Jasmine Crockett and making her like sister girl over here,
Yeah.
who wears slides on television. It was bad. It was horrible. And doing these TikTok videos, it was horrible. Right. And then there are times with MTG, I just wish she had a better staff behind her executing her research, right, when she's bringing forth different things. And so I just kind of see it like, okay, I can still see the political theater that you guys are doing. You're
Okay.
really truly just, you need to help us. And I'm not saying MTG is not trying to help us. I really see her trying to help us. But I
Sure.
do think there are people within her camp trying to make her look bad. If that makes sense.
Wow. That's that's crazy. She's down. Oh, that's right. She's in your neck of the woods. That's right.
She's in Georgia. Yeah, she's up north. She's in Paulding County. I want to say she's near
Okay.
Rome, Georgia. She's from Rome. So
Rome.
she's a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
north.
yeah.
Yeah, about 2.5
Ah,
hours from where I'm
yeah.
at, but, I see a lot of these politicians, they are doing the political two step. And that's again why I started the Redemption Party because we need to have servants of the people, not politicians. We need to
And
have
not
people that are concerned.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We do have problems. We have to get them addressed. You are so right. I cannot wait to um, connect with you more about that because we don't have anything of that sort out west.
Right.
There's, you know, the, there are people are in their own world, and there are honestly a lot of, like you said, California Democrats who left California quietly and came here and started the same policies, but most of those are white liberal baby boomer age. The younger people who come here are a little more centrist, um,
Mhm.
because they see what LA has become,
Yeah.
and Karen Bass ain't black. Just saying. But
Yeah.
uh-huh.
She
Uh-huh.
hides though. She hides well.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But I won't keep you any longer. But definitely, I want to have you back on just, for any political
I'd love to.
segments. If you have any updates, and those I'll be doing throughout the week.
Uh,
But thank you for joining us for Women in Wellness Wednesday. And I just wanted you to have last words of where people can find you, right,
all right.
on social media, and just give us your tip for political wellness.
Political wellness is it entails, um, even if it's on a small scale, getting involved in your local community. And I know that people, as I said, people think that I'm not into politics, but politics is into you. And people really need to see what is going on in their community because it will eventually affect you, and see where you fit in. You think that you don't have a voice, you do. And when we come out together against these egregious policies, they may not all get passed like here in Colorado, but I tell you, it puts us on the map and it gives it national attention. Even if you do something like make phone calls 2 hours a week send emails, talk to, send emails to your congressional representatives, uh, get on votesmart.org and see how your congressional representatives are voting. Are they voting in your best interests? You need to get involved. Your families, the next generation. Um, if you're not involved, then you get this mess like we got in Colorado with 25 1312, a House bill that the House and the Senate passed and the governor signed, that says you cannot misgender someone, or you can go to jail for misgendering someone or dead naming someone. I don't even know what that is, but it passed because not enough people are aware of this absolute evil that has been hoisted upon us. So get involved. And you don't have to be in it like a lot of us are, because this is just kind of my jam, but just kind of see what's going on and get involved. You don't have to have both feet in, but just do something and learn about how this is going to affect you, because it will. And I can you can follow me on X. I'm at Real Karen Jean, and that was initially to throw shade at Corinne Jean Pierre, because she's a fabrication. She's a fake Karen Jean. I'm the real deal, Holyfield. So at Real Karen Jean on X. Follow me there. I appreciate you. And Dr. Noni, girl, this has been amazing. I really appreciate you, and I look forward. Please have me on again. I would
Oh,
love to.
absolutely. Because trust me, you are raw and uncut, and I love it.
Thank you.
Okay. I
Thank
enjoy
you.
it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye,
Talk to you soon.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
So thank you so much. I know I ran a little long today because, this is the last Wednesday of the month, and it probably will go this way for next month in June, because I just want to make sure that, we do hear from the women out there in the community. And I so appreciate, Karen Kennedy coming on, and also Dr. Nikki Johnson and Gabrielle Clark for being my guests on this last Wednesday of the month for Women in Wellness Wednesday. And with that, I'll let you guys go. Thank you again so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. And we will see you on the next one. Have a great one.